Hi guys, Korean movie recapped here. Before we start, warning. Spoilers ahead. Today, I'm going to recap a 2013 Korean crime thriller movie called New World. An undercover police officer goes deep inside the heart of a Korean crime syndicate. When the head of the organization is killed in a mysterious accident, he is trapped in the succession war. Will he be able to take them down? Goldmoon is the biggest crime syndicate in Korea that operates under the face of a legitimate corporate enterprise. It runs under the leadership of Chairman Sok, the man who managed to unite various crime clans under Goldmoon. He was recently able to escape prosecution on several charges. In the process, he realizes that the police might have a spy inside his organization. Ja-sung, a high-ranking player in the organization, and his men are doing a witch hunt to find the mole. They capture a suspected member and torture him to get a confession. They aren't able to get a confession, so they kill him and ditch his body into the ocean inside a barrel. Meanwhile, Chairman Sok is on the way back from his mistress' house. A truck suddenly appears at an intersection and rams the car. The emergency unit manages to arrive on time and brings Chairman Sok to the hospital. The news about it quickly spread and the whole organization gathered at the hospital. Ja-sung meets with Jong-gu there, one of the 3 top leaders under Chairman Sok. He then goes to the airport to greet the other leader, Chung, who just came back from Shanghai. Chung is a rather eccentric man, but he considers Ja-sung as his close friend as they have known each other for a long time. On the way to the hospital, Chung gives Ja-sung a watch as a gift to celebrate his wife's pregnancy. But Ja-sung declines the gift because it's a knockoff brand and mocks him for buying it. Being an eccentric person, he lashes his frustration at his subordinate for telling him that it looks real. All of the organization leaders have gathered at the hospital to wait for the operation result. The doctors come out from the operation room and announce that Chairman Sok has passed away. The news makes Jong-gu angry with the doctor and leaves the others confused as the organization's future becomes uncertain. On the next day, they held a grand funeral ceremony to give their last respect to Chairman Sok. The police also show up to do surveillance, which angers Jong-gu. He confronts them and smashes their camera. Chief Kang, a police chief leading the investigation against Goldmoon, comes to help his subordinate. Jong-gu backs out and pays them for the broken camera. Back at the police headquarters, the higher-ups are discussing the contentious factions vie for succession after the death of Chairman Sok. Goldmoon is an amalgamation of the Yebum clan, Jel clan, and Nuthmoon clan. 3 candidates will likely fill the open seat of Goldmoon's new chairman. The first candidate is Chung, supported by the Northmoon clan, and has close ties with the Triads and often manages businesses outside Korea. The second candidate is Jong-gu, supported by the most prominent Yebum clan, and was close to Chairman Sok. These 2 candidates are the most likely to fill the vacant seat as they are the most influential leaders at the organization. The last candidate is Suki, backed by the Jel clan. But Suki is old, and his power is unlikely to match the other 2 candidates. The police plan to influence the succession process to bring them down. Ja-sung is playing a board game with an unknown lady. He tells her about the upcoming board meeting held in 2 days to discuss the succession process. Suddenly he becomes annoyed and heads to an abandoned building to meet a particular person. That person is Chief Kang. Ja-sung turns out to be an undercover cop that infiltrates the Goldmoon syndicate, and the unknown lady before is his handler. He has risen through ranks for the past 8 years and has become the 5th rank in command, just under the 3 top leaders and Chairman Sok. He is mad at Chief Kang because he promised him that his job would be done once they took care of Chairman Sok. But his handler told him that now he has to assist the mission to influence the succession process. He is also pissed because somehow Chief Kang knows that his wife is pregnant and presents him. That means that someone is following him without him knowing. He feels frustrated by the situation, but he has no other choice. 2 days later, they held the board meeting as planned. They decided to fit a voting session next week to pick the new chairman. As expected, 2 opposing factions arise between Chung and Jong-gu. Ja-sung is closer to Chung, but he does not officially support anyone. He walks back to the car park with Chung. Chung tells him that he needs to go back to Shanghai for business soon, and asks him to look after his office so Jong-gu can't do anything while away. Suddenly, a car appears and almost runs them over. It turns out to be Jong-gu, trying to mess with them, and then drives away. Chung then invites Ja-sung to have a little feast to celebrate his wife's pregnancy. Ja-sung then goes to his handler to relay more intel. He asks her about the details of the mission as his life is in the line, but the handler can't share the information with him as the protocol says. Ja Sung only needs to do as he is told, which makes him angry. Even his comrades in the syndicates trust him more than the fellow police do. Just before he leaves, he tells her that Chung will leave the country tomorrow afternoon. Meanwhile, Jong-gu invites the other leader to his office and tries to intimidate them into supporting him. On the next day, Ja Sung accompanies Chung to the airport. He realizes that many undercover cops are monitoring them there. He doesn't know what is going to happen, which makes him nervous. Just after Chung passes the security gate, some police officer comes to him and takes him away. He meets with Chief Kang in an interrogation room nearby. Chief Kang shows him a file about the Gold Moon investigation report. Chang realized that the file includes some internal data that only can be obtained if the police still have some spy inside the organization. But to his surprise, Chief Kang proposes a plan to take down Jong-gu together so Chung can easily take the vacant chairman role. Chief Kang tells him to think about it over his flight. Just before Chung leaves, he wonders how the police know that he will fly to Shanghai today. On the plane, he tells his lawyer to do a background check on Chief Kang and hire a hitman group to clean the moles inside the organization. After that, Chief Kang takes his men to make a move. Jong-gu and his crew are in the middle of breakfast when suddenly the police barge into the restaurant. Chief Kang shows him the court-certified warrant and takes him away. Just before they leave, Jong-gu wonders if Chung has sold him out, which Chief Kang answers vaguely. Chung receives the news about the arrest and immediately plans a meeting with Jong-gu and flies back to Korea. When he arrives in Korea, he goes straight to meet Jong-gu and exchange some heated conversation which ends with Jong-gu warning him, but Chung insists that the one leaking the information was not him. Chung then goes to meet with Chief Kang discreetly in an empty stadion. He gives him a box full of mooncakes as a token of appreciation. Chief Kang checks the gift and finds bundles of money inside the mooncake. Chung hopes that it can smoothen things up for his future business with his help. He declines it and throws them on the floor. Ja Sung brings his wife to an obstetrician to monitor her pregnancy. On the way back, his wife gets a call and receives it in private. It turns out that it's from Chief Kang, asking her about Ja Sung. She spies on his husband behind him for Chief Kang. Like her husband, she feels that this espionage mission has put a lot of stress, so she wants to quit. She also feels more loyal to her husband now since he is the one who helped her out of his miserable old life. The background check result on Chief Kang has finally arrived. Not only information about Chief Kang, the Chinese hacker Chung hired manages to get classified information about the whole espionage mission. The file he reads shocks Chung. Meanwhile, the hitman group that Chung employs has arrived in Korea. They are a famous Chinese hitman group called the Yanbian Hobos. Ja Sung suddenly calls Chung, asking about his sudden arrival in Korea. Chung acts friendly as usual, then tells him to meet him in a warehouse because he has a special surprise. Ja Sung has a bad feeling, but he can't decline it. The Yanbian Hobos make their first move. From the hack file, they know the identity of Ja Sung's handler and visit her. She fights back, but the Yanbian Hobos manages to get her alive. Ja Sung arrives at the warehouse and comes inside with his trusted subordinate, Suk-mu. Chung tells him to open a barrel to get the surprise that Chung promised on the phone before. Ja Sung cautiously approaches the barrel and opens it. To his surprise, he finds his handler inside, stripped to her underwear and all bloody. Chung explains that the lady inside the barrel, who Ja Sung routinely meets to play chess and relay intel, is a spy. Ja Sung sweats heavily as Chung hands him the mission file with detailed information of the involved personnel. It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up. Chung has one final surprise for him and tells him to flip the file to the last page. Just before he manages to read the final page, Chung grabs a spade and viciously hits Suk-mu. Unknown to Ja Sung, his most trusted subordinate in the organization is also an undercover cop. Chung manages to find all the spies around Ja Sung and eliminates them as a gift for him. This confuses Ja Sung because although Chung has the mission file, somehow he doesn't know his real identity. Chung tells the Yanbian Hobos to have some fun with the handler's body, making Ja Sung grab a gun and shoot her to save her from what the Yanbian Hobos will do to her. Meanwhile, Chief Kang goes to the prison to meet Jong-gu. He gives Jong-gu photos of Chung and him, making Jong-gu think that Chung is the one who sold him. Jong-gu then tells his men to do a little retaliation to Chung. On the next day, Ja Sung goes to Chief Kang to discuss the situation. Chief Kang tells him that their system is hacked, and all of the classified information has been leaked. Ja Sung desperately wants to pull out from the mission, but suddenly Suki, the organization's third leader, appears. Chief Kang has agreed to help him get the chairman's seat so the police can control the organization from within. Chief Kang threatens to spread Ja Sung's identity, making him not have other choices besides continuing the plan, although Chief Kang has promised to pull him out. Jong-goo's men make their move and organize an attack on Chung. Despite being outnumbered, he manages to give the attacker a hard time. He is trapped inside an elevator full of Jong-goo's men. He takes them down, but it leaves him heavily injured. The police come and bring the wounded to the hospital. Jong-goo's men also try to get Ja Sung's wife, but the police are already waiting for them. Unfortunately, the shock makes his wife having a miscarriage. The doctor tells Ja Sung that his wife's stress level has affected the pregnancy. Ja Sung hears about what happened to Chung and goes to the hospital. His condition is terrible. Chung wants to talk with his best friend for the last time. He tells him to choose a side for his own good, signaling that he knows Ja Sung's identity. Just before Chung passes away, he tells Ja Sung that he leaves a present in his office safe. The organization then held its second funeral this month, sending off one of the succession candidates. With Chung's death and Jong-gu locked in the prison, Suki's succession seems to be a smooth ride. Ja Sung goes to Chung's office and finds his file inside the safe. He also finds a watch, a present that Chung promised, but it is not a knockoff brand this time. He realizes that Chung is really his true best friend. But he realizes it too late. On the voting day, Suki asks Ja Sung to ride with him to the board meeting. But suddenly, they head to a remote location with a bunch of Suki men surrounding them. It turns out that Suki plans to betray his agreement with the police and eliminate Ja Sung. But instead of Ja Sung, they beat Suki. The absence of Chung and Jong-gu makes Ja Sung the most influential person in the organization. Meanwhile, the police release Jong-gu that day. He goes to his office to find out that Ja Sung's men are already waiting for him. They then throw him down the building, eliminating him. Ja Sung also sends the Yanbian hobo to eradicate the other leaders supporting Suki, and Chief Kang, who has repeatedly betrayed his promises. He is done playing spy for the police, sacrificing so many things. He decides to take his new role as the chairman of the Gold Moon Crime Syndicate, living his life as a free man under his own will. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like and comment to help the channel out. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.